The following live stream contains four guys sitting around their computer. They will be talking about mental health. They are not licensed therapists, doctors, or anything along that line. If you struggle with mental health, reach out to someone who can lead you to a licensed therapist who can help you. You are not alone. Please join these four men in the live chat or leave a comment. Welcome. I bid you welcome to Monday Night Metal, to the Mental Health Summit. Now, there are supposed to be a couple more folks joining us, so we hope that they will be here soon. But for now, you got me, your host, Johnny Metal, for the Monday Night Metal Show. And welcome back to the Professor. How you doing, my friend, Peter Jones?
I'm doing great, John. How are you? Happy long weekend to you. That is now almost over.
Well, I didn't have a long weekend actually. I actually worked at my little job today. So it's a Labor Day. So I didn't get a total long weekend, but
well, it's been very quiet here. Wife and one of my sons left on Friday.
Right.
Down to Kansas to see my other son down at Fort Riley.
Ah, okay.
And help him get his house and everything all back together.
Right.
Because he had been off for training for a month and a half while his wife is deployed over in Poland.
Oh boy, Poland. Oh, Poland. Ivan Putski, Polish Power. Oh man, wow. That's what part of Poland, I wonder.
Classified.
Ah, good. Yes. Smart answer. Smart answer.
Classified.
Oh man. Well.
Meaning I have no idea.
Exactly. Yes.
I couldn't tell you if I wanted to.
Right. So Helgard had a point here. Never understood how we celebrated labor by not working. Yeah, that's true. I guess that's just, sometimes it's just go figure. But sad part of it is I never looked up the history to the holiday, so I don't honestly know all of that. But today we're going to talk about something a little different. We're going to talk some mental health, and it was funny, not funny. But September is a I didn't realize that September is a suicide prevention month. For the longest time, at least for the last couple of years, that got overshadowed by me because it's also pediatric cancer month. And I would know that because of Sammy.
Sammy, sure.
And so that tended to overshadow.
Well, it had a higher priority.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah. And Sammy, for anybody who's ever heard about my great nephew, I'll just kind of share the story here real quick. Shortly after he had turned 3, he was diagnosed with a rare pediatric brain cancer called AT/RT. It tends to attack like the spinal fluid and tends to hit the toddlers, the really young kids. And while they were able to get rid of all of the tumor, It unfortunately did take out his eye, and he was not able to. He lost one of his eyes. He's been through chemo. He's been through radiation. Everything has been coming back clean. So he's doing really good. He turns 6 next month. Started kindergarten in a public school, which I thought, oh boy, that's gonna be fun. We're hoping that the kids are going to be good to him, and that he won't get bullied or picked on because he still has to wear an eye patch. But he is going for some reconstructive surgery so they can at least get a prosthetic in there. But he's a good kid, and they seem like he's got some good answers for somebody says something about the eye patch or whatever. So that's a good thing. So anyway, so you can definitely tell there's been some mental health stuff with there, because that has just been so, and maybe not so much a mental health, more emotional health, because there's just been so much weighing on the family with all of that. I mean, even today, still my brother, he's like, so, if he could just wrap him up in bubble wrap, and make him like John Travolta.
Sure.
And from the there you go. There's Jake Knott from State Farm. Welcome, brother.
Hi, how you guys doing?
Oh man, we're doing good. I was just talking about Sammy. So so one of the things I wanted to talk about is like, he still wants to wrap him up like in a big bubble.
Mm-hmm.
But sooner or later, he's got to get out of that bubble, and he's got to be able to live life and be able to do what he needs to do in life. So
Sure.
But yeah, it's just been such an emotional strain, because a lot of us have really struggled with, gosh, we just want him to have clean scans. We want him to have this. We want him to have this and all this. But yeah, so more emotional health, I think, more than anything. But
is there really a difference, John?
Probably not, because the
emotional and mental health, it's all wrapped together.
I think so. Yeah,
it's all
one big bubble.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
It's all part of the things that go into our everyday existences, worries, choices that lead to anxieties, joys, depressions, fears, and mental health. Is this? It's a two-word phrase that has just become this big, monstrous, blossoming thing, but it's really just a whole ton of smaller subsets underneath it.
Yeah.
And every one of them has an impact on our day-to-day lives and our long-term lives, and how we address those and how we react to those is our day-to-day maintenance of our mental, spiritual, physical, emotional health. I think they're all related.
Yes, it really is. But
hi, Jake, by the way.
Hi, Peter.
Yes, absolutely right here, Helgard. Absolutely right.
That's part of the problem.
Yeah,
people don't take their mental health, their emotional health seriously, and they don't wrap it into that bubble with their mental health, and then things that emotionally get them down and affect them emotionally begin to affect their mental health, and that affects then their sleeping patterns, their day-night cycles, their performance at work,
nutrition, everything.
Yeah.
And then too often we see employers that don't credit mental health days. Physically sick, you're throwing up, you got a cold, you got a fever, you got diarrhea. These are things employers recognize.
Correct.
There's so many I work in healthcare, and we just started not too long ago recognizing people might need mental health days. they might be emotionally drained and might need to call in for a mental health day. It used to be that you would get shamed and your employer would treat you like garbage if you called in and said, hey, I'm not mentally sound to work today. My dad had an emergency surgery this weekend. He had a spinal leak and a spinal headache, and I'm just not mentally prepared to work today and take care of people. I can hardly take care of myself. And my employer would be like, that's not okay. You need to find your way into work and make it happen. We don't accept this.
Well, yeah. If I can jump in, and John and I were talking before we went online. If you can put Helgard's comment back up there again, if you would, please.
This one?
Yes. No, the talking. Yeah. I'm gonna raise my hand and say nobody wants to talk unless there's somebody to listen to them.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about listening.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have somebody who cares enough to want to listen. Then it's not the other way around. It's like, well, if you talk, I'll listen. Right. No. It's backwards.
Right.
I need to give you the sense of confidence and the assurance that I will listen, talk when you feel comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Not the other way around.
Yep.
But then to add on to that, there's still stigmas around it. Okay. For instance, I'm going to be Caesar's. This is very true.
Sure, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna get personal here. I have a bipolar and struggle with that. Sometimes when I get into a low, my moods get dark. No one wants me to hear me say, I think the world's a terrible place. I think it would be better off if humanity did. These are thoughts I think when I am in a bipolar low. I think humanity shouldn't exist. I think we were a mistake. I think we're just ruining, these are things that cross my mind. And you go and say these things, and people I've known 20, 30 years look at me and they're like, whoa, I don't want to hear you talk like this. Bring back Jake. That's happy. That's jovial. Right. I don't want to hear you talk like this. Go talk to a therapist, dude. I do talk to a therapist. I talk to a therapist every 6 weeks. I don't care. I don't want to hear this. I don't care. This isn't cool. This is just something that happens occasionally. I'll cycle, and no, we can't hear you talk like that.
Right.
Well, and I think too, as we stated in the opening, this is why the lack of both funding, accessibility, recognition in all areas, both monetarily, in the medical fields and everything, it's really difficult for inexperienced, flawed people to listen and help other inexperienced, flawed people. Now, even therapists in mental health people are still human beings. That's not but my point is they have a different sense of how to work through things, how to allow the person a safe and comfortable environment. I'm not saying we shouldn't listen to our friends and help them and try and be there. We should. But it didn't help, especially in my generation. The only thing you ever thought about in this field was the person laying on the couch and the person with the notepad. That meant you were cuckoo, unstable, and unable to take care of yourself through day-to-day activities or day-to-day life.
Right.
And that's the worst stereotype there is, because there are fully functional people.
Whoop.
It happens to the best of us.
Yeah, it happens to the best. Oops. Well, I think he was saying something with people, but yes. Hang on, let's get him back on here. Whoop, unmute.
Did I get bumped?
All of a sudden, your camera went spinning and you were gone. So no, I didn't bump you. So
sorry about that.
That's okay.
My point is that there are fully functional people who are still fearful, depressed, ridden with anxiety, a lot of things that make day-to-day activities more challenging, but they push themselves through it. So it's not like all of a sudden, if you're, quote, having a mental health issue, you're completely dysfunctional.
Right.
That's
right.
It's a curve. There's people on all areas of the spectrum of the arc.
Correct. Yeah. And that's, and I think you guys have heard me talk about my own situation. I think for the longest time I probably was dealing with a lot more stuff than I ever realized. And then all of a sudden, you're finally going, you're going 100 miles an hour and you finally hit that brick wall, and that brick wall finally crashes down on you. Well, and that's what finally happened with me, where I finally couldn't do it no more, and for like a year, I sat and I just tried to collect myself and tried to figure out what in the world I'm supposed to do next. And I didn't, I didn't even want to leave the house much, but I did. But it wasn't easy. There were times I'd go out and I'd start driving around, and next thing I know, I'm like almost zoning out while I'm driving. And that was a little scary.
Well,
and I was listening to music to keep me like functioning, but I just was like totally zoning out in the car.
I can only speak for myself that when those types of things start to happen, and not only is listening important, but observing and paying attention visually. The things that we used to be able to do without any difficulty all of a sudden become more challenging. And then the thought process is, oh God, what's wrong with me? Why can't I fix this? Why can't I be okay? Why is this so difficult? Why can't I get a grip on this? Which is only making things more challenging.
Why am I wired like this? Why is this happening this way? What is making me make these decisions? What is making me feel the way I'm feeling? Yeah, there's a lot.
The line that goes through my head is, this never happened before.
Yes. Yeah.
And now you're like, oh, what's different? Well, as with most things, they were small things earlier, but they've grown. And not only that, you've added more things to them.
Yeah.
So the little things that you used to, when there weren't other things on top of it, you could, and as I was saying, functionally work your way through it. But as more and more start to get piled on top of the snowdrift, as they say, you're like, well, that was never challenging before. Why? I have been having a series of nightmares, Sigmund Freud. They have all been related to previous jobs that I had done in my past, that I would go back to. And all of this is stemmed from my post being home with the kids and trying to find my identity again outside of being dad. Who's Peter? Where am I nourishing Peter, not being somebody's dad? And all these jobs that happen in my dreams all turn into complete nightmares because I am completely dysfunctional. I can't turn on a computer. I can't balance a check. I can't add money.
Mm-hmm.
Things that I'm like, my God, I used to be this. I used to run multi-$100 million branches in my sleep. Metaphorically, but I used to do that for real. And I'm like, okay, what if I went back to here? And I'm like, there's a line 20 people deep in my teller window because I can't log in. I mean, just stuff. And then I wake up and I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
What? And I know that is me trying to sort myself out. Who am I?
Mm-hmm.
Who am I now? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm 60. I'll be 63 next month. You know, I'm not going to be a rock star at 63. Okay. Sorry. That music part of my life is gone.
Right.
And I'm like, am I so wrapped up as I'm just either the drummer guy or the dad guy? Who am I?
Mm-hmm.
What do I do? What is my worth? And you start to just wonder.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, the dreams don't help, but what they're saying is pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying pay attention.
Yeah. Oh,
and
yeah.
if that means you need to talk more, if you need to look for more outlets, if you need to change what you're doing, change your environment, change your something.
Right.
Something status quo is not working.
Right. Right.
And I know Jake would agree with me.
Mm-hmm.
There are always red flags. There's always signals.
And we ignore them too often.
We ignore them in ourselves, and we ignore them in the people that we are close to and have contact with.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Usually whenever I have work dreams, they usually always combine my jobs I've had.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah.
I've had people at the wholesale florist job show up at the UPS store.
Yeah. Right.
And guess who's just about to come on? Metal Roger, who apparently completely forgot about tonight. But that's okay.
Roger meditates usually around this time. So,
and
oops. On the subject of mental health, that has completely turned up. I ran up 3 flights of stairs. So.
Ooh, okay.
Bad heart.
Anyway, we were talking about like we've had work dreams and things like that. So some of the work dreams I've had were like people would flip flop in the different jobs. Like I'd be at the UPS store, but I'm at the wholesale florist job, or I'd be at the UPS store but I'm doing wholesale florist work or something like that.
Right.
I'm doing all these crazy things. The craziest thing I think I've ever had a dream was Gene Simmons walked into the store and wanted to know what it would cost to scan every single Kiss contract for every single Kiss concert that they ever did.
God, those sound better than my work dreams.
I'm thinking back then, this was like 40 years worth of concerts. Oh my gosh, how much paperwork is that going to be? And how many I'm thinking I could only burn them to a CD. How many CDs is this going to take up at the time? I'm like, oh God. And then I woke up. I'm like,
a quick moment when I was doing one of the drum shows with Martin on the Contrarians. Mm-hmm. We got to the point at the end, and we were just talking about random stuff. And this was it was such a moment for me. He's like, well, did you ever have this dream where like you're trying to set up your drums and stuff? And I'm like, oh my God, Martin, I've had it since like junior high. My whole life. I go, you have it? And he goes, yeah. He goes, every time like you get a great gig, like I can go audition for Kiss.
Right.
And they're waiting for me, and I bring in my stuff. But I'm so anal. I'm like, I sit down and I can't. Oh, wait, that cymbal's not the right height. Oh, and it takes me hours and I never play a note.
Right.
Ever in any dream where I'm going to do something drumming, I think that's, going to be, and he goes, I've had that. I go, I've never heard another human acknowledge that. And I was like, I'm not alone. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. That's a good feeling when you know that somebody else has been there, done that. So Roger, just to kind of catch you up here. So we've been really just kind of talking about basically, all kinds of different, stigmas, people listening, people acknowledging, and just all these different things, all the different things that combines. So now that you're here, I'm going to put you on the spot. What kind of things do you, I guess, would talk about when it comes to mental health? Like what it would be like the one thing you would probably focus on when you're trying to, I don't know, express it to somebody, or if you see somebody going through it, like how do you attack it?
I just try to remember that it's not a bad life, it's just a bad day, pretty much.
Okay.
And there sure is a stigma, because I could tell a story, and I probably will. Screw it, he won't mind. My friend tried to do something, and he ended up in the hospital, and I took a picture of him, and I guess that was against hospital rules. So they gave him all kinds of trouble and didn't care if he was okay or not. And they made a bunch of lies and stuff.
Gosh.
Trying to make things worse. I'm like, I'm just trying to show the rest of my friends that he's okay.
Right.
Like, it's like no one gives a crap. Like it's not like you can't see it on your wrist or something.
Right.
You can't see it with your eyes. You can only see, like, I don't know, if somebody's crying or something, but still, you can't really see someone suffering inside their brain.
Right.
So I'm trying to spitball.
Man, we should almost bring Helgard into this conversation. What do we think about this one, guys? When you listen to someone, you don't have to try to fix their problems.
I agree with that.
But there's one thing the four of us have in common. We're men. What do us men want to do all the time?
Fix. There's a great video on YouTube. It's called "It's Not the Nail," where this lady's talking about her headaches and stuff, and how she keeps getting these headaches, and she has a nail in the center of her forehead, and her boyfriend's like, well, maybe if you remove the and the whole point of the video is she doesn't care about the nail. She just needs her boyfriend to listen.
Right. Yeah. That's almost like paraphrasing the, before you try to move the speck out of my eye, how about worrying about the plank in yours kind of thing, and stuff like that. But
and then certain circumstances can teach you lessons very quickly. I'm a fixer. I'm a serious fixer. But as my kids were getting a little older, and then now older, I have to have conversations with my significant other that if something's coming up and we perceive that they may be having challenges or difficulties, the instinct is to fix. But I'm not helping them if I do it and fix it for them. They have to learn. Yeah, serial fixer. Yeah. They have to. It is a bigger lesson to teach them how to fix it themselves. Even though everything inside you says, I can't let them suffer. I can't let them fall. I can't let them. You do. Because first of all, I won't be here forever.
Mm-mm.
And they can't learn to rely on me.
Right.
They always know I'm here. And
Mm-hmm.
the best blessing is that randomly out of nowhere, I'll get a call from one of 4 of my kids. Hey, Dad, can you help me with such and such? Or I was struggling with this. What did you think about that? Completely unsolicited, out of nowhere. I let them talk it out. And in more cases than not, at the end, I'm just going, that sounds like a great idea, hon.
Yeah.
I'm not telling them or fixing it. And that's against my natural instincts.
Right.
Especially as a fixer. And then on top of it as a father.
Mm-hmm.
But I was very seriously guilty at one point. My wife had an incident with the car.
Mm-hmm.
And she was in a kind of trouble. And I got the call and I got there and I couldn't believe how the circumstance happened. So my first instinct is, how the hell did you get there? Not, are you okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And as soon as I start with something attacking and derogatory, anything I say after that's no good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's all been kind of.
Yep.
And you have to. Are you okay? All right, we'll fix this. Are you okay? And I think as listeners, we have to stop saying what. Step back.
Mm-hmm.
And that is one of the hardest skills that I think as a community and a society that we are seriously lacking in.
Yeah.
We don't take those time. We don't take the effort. We don't put ourselves aside for a minute. And in the end, the irony of all this is that it helps us as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the payoff. It helps us too. We're just too egotistical and jerk ass some days to understand it.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, yeah, your day's bad, but man, you should have seen mine. Step back.
Don't invalidate someone else's day.
No,
Yeah.
It's not a competition of whose day was worse.
No.
Someone actually taught me that point.
Oh, cool.
And that the Dano taught me that actually, because he pointed out I like to make things about me instead of just listening. And then it pissed me off for a little bit. And then I thought about it. I'm like, holy shit, he's right. So it made me a better listener.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Just wanted to jump in.
Yeah. No. Jump. Both of you guys, anybody jump in with anything.
And that
comes
last comment, I kind of was going to say something like that.
Right.
You can't really force someone to take advice or listen to you.
No.
They have to find it in themselves.
Correct.
To find what will work for them.
No addict recovers because you told them to.
No.
Exactly. They got to hit rock bottom or figure it out themselves.
Well, since you brought up an addict, I mentioned it at the beginning that this was September is also Suicide Prevention Month,
right?
And I want to flash up a couple graphics here that I just want to read some stuff from here. Depression is more than being sad. Anxiety is more than worrying. OCD is more than being tidy. PTSD is more than just flashbacks. Jake, this one you should know about this one. Bipolar is more than mood swings. Schizophrenia is more than seeing things. EDs are more than being underweight. Borderline is more than instability. addiction is not just a choice. Anything anybody here wants to talk about?
Yeah.
Go for it, Jake.
PTSD, there's that misconception that it's flashbacks, and there's a lot of anxiety in there. Crowds can be anxiety inducing. Walmart can be, and then there's also the misconception that only combat vets get PTSD.
Right.
That's not true at all. I have a bit of PTSD with Walmart, of all things. My mom would drop us off in Walmart as kids and leave us there for 3-4 hours while she would go have her affair. And, you know, we would be alone in the store and couldn't find her if we needed to. And so I have this, like, every time I go to Walmart, I feel tense, anxious, irritated, annoyed, angry. That's PTSD. That's that anxiety component with the PTSD that people don't see. There's no flashbacks. And it actually took me till 2020 to realize why I felt that way about Walmart every time I went into Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and events happen, and the triggers are different with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Some are smells.
Mm-hmm.
Some are texture, textile. Some are environment driven. I have extreme anxiety when I'm in a lot of forested areas when there are high winds. And you say, well, what in the world has that got to do with anything?
Mm-hmm.
Well, when I was very small, I was at church camp and we were all out at our picnic area. And I heard a big crash and a big branch from a tree fell and killed the father of a gentleman that I knew. He was pinned under the tree.
Mm.
That alone would be enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when I was in high school, our high school sits up on top of a hill overlooking a lake. It's got a bunch of huge old trees that go around the whole campus. And we were on that backside getting the buses because they were doing construction in the front where we normally got our buses.
Mm-hmm.
Long story short, we were in this back area. I was standing just a little bit up a hill. I heard the same crack. And I turned, and one of my classmates, the branch had hit her right across the back of the neck, straight to the concrete, and killed her instantly. If I had been down the hill a little bit closer to the concrete, as I was much taller than her, it would have hit me.
Right.
I don't like trees in high winds.
Yeah. Well, my friend, my best friend Mike, he knows what that feels like to get clunked with a big branch like that. He got clunked like in the back of his neck and upper back area. And while it wasn't like a big enough one to kill him, it certainly did enough damage to his neck, and it did other damage to like his ankle and some other parts of his body. And you know, this happened like 14, 15 years ago. And he's now, over the last few times I've seen him, you can see where the short-term memory issues have come in. And the doctors had kind of said that he was going to experience this. You know, and he admits that he's quite the hothead, and it's cost him many a job over the years. But you know, and doctors have tried to give him stuff to cope with, like for, you know, depression or anxiety and different things like that. And, you know, not much has really been working with him. And it's, you know, it's just, and, you know, so he's had it pretty tough, but, you know, he's doing the best. He still does the best he can with what he's got. But,
well, and
but it hurts me to see him struggling with his memory issues that he's just going to get worse and worse and worse. But
yeah,
he's had so many different things happen to him over the years. I think he's been hit by lightning twice.
What?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Go figure that out.
Did he get superpowers?
I don't think so. But
we were talking about sometimes the things happen very small and very far away, and then when we look back at them, we wonder why they've lingered, and now they're bigger. Not to monopolize my trauma.
Yeah.
That when I was 5, I was at a friend's of my parents' house being babysat, and the next door neighbors had a dog, a German Shepherd I had seen a million times.
Mm-hmm.
And literally I was just in the driveway playing with the ball while the owner next door was raking his yard. The dog was on the front porch. Next thing I knew, the dog was on top of me, just ripping me to shreds. The owner ran over, tried to pull the dog away. The dog wouldn't stop. He laid down on top of me, and the dog was biting underneath him, trying to get to me. Then he put me up on his shoulders, and the dog was jumping up his owner to try to get to me, and then stopped, walked back to the porch, and laid down. I'm bit up, ankles. So you jump ahead years. I go to visit my grandmother, and I'm a little bit older. I'm 12, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So my younger brother and I went to see my grandmother in Michigan. We come home, and what do we have in the house? We have a dog. I wouldn't go in the house.
Right.
Yeah. Now, it wasn't a German Shepherd. German Shepherds are the trigger for me.
Right.
But I'm like, hello, people. What makes you think I'm comfortable in this house with a dog?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But to them, it was get over it.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
That's the same kind of stigma, the same kind of lack of acknowledgement. But today they go, oh, one of the kids have got a dog. Dad, if you're not comfortable with the dog, we'll put it in the other room. So they at least understand.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay. And I work my way through it, and I try to get close to them and everything.
Right.
But that was how many decades ago, and I'm still like, whoa.
Oh yeah.
I'm like,
I had something similar as a kid. I was in kindergarten, and I think the one teacher had a farm, and
E-I-E-I-O.
Yeah, and we went to the farm, and they had horses, and we all got on the horse. Well, I guess when it was my turn to get on the horse, for some reason, I guess I wasn't holding on right, or I was something, but I was like, all I can remember is literally hanging off the side of the horse,
right,
hoping I'm not going to fall off and be trampled, and I'm like, kind of scared for my life. I would never go near a horse again for almost 20 years. And it took a little convincing to get me up on a horse again.
Sure.
And I did, to be nice to somebody because they wanted to do this as a group thing. So I did. And of course, my horse got a little spooked by a deer that was running through these woods, but didn't do anything weird. But I stayed up on the horse. I was all good. But I didn't want to get on that horse again. That's for sure. But was there any other thing here that we wanted to kind of talk about with some of these different the different things here? Like, is there anything that either one of you guys that
the first one sticks out to me is depression, because for me, the acknowledgement that I am depressed is that things that I would normally do with joy don't have the same joy. They're struggles, or I avoid them. And it's the lack of motivation. It's the feeling of almost, paralysis by analysis. You're just thinking about so many things. You're doing nothing.
Right.
But thinking about doing everything,
mm-hmm.
which accomplishes absolutely nothing.
Right.
Right. And depression shows up in so many different ways.
Mm-hmm.
It's a change. It could be a change of, like, Jake said, a sleeping habit. It could change how I eat. It could be, I'll sit down at my drums and there's days that I don't want to drum. I mean, I understand that that's not in and of itself,
mm-hmm.
but there are days I just look at it and go, no,
just can't.
No. And it's just like, and again, you don't have to love everything every day. You have to give yourself permission
mm-hmm.
to say, no, not today.
Right.
Not today. You have to have those breaks.
Yeah. Jake, what do you think?
I would like to take a moment to kind of talk about addiction for a little bit.
Okay.
It's not a choice. It's a compulsion, almost oftentimes in a solution to an anxiety trigger. My anxiety's high, so I'm going to smoke this cigarette, or I'm feeling depressed, so I'm going to get high. I have a chemical imbalance. I'm going to shoot the heroin. I had a hard day at work. Now I need to coffee, caffeine. These are all compulsionary things that we do. They're not. Now, this is most definitely a choice. But going and shooting up are their compulsions to something that is a bigger picture. Usually a more we call them comorbidities. There's a bigger, more primary cause of something, and the addiction is the secondary tumor,
the attempted coping mechanism.
Yes. And so you have to treat the primary thing, and then and usually finding out what that is it can be a little bit more difficult. But I feel like there's a lot of people that are just like, oh well, just no, that's not the case. It's a bigger picture than they just chose to get high today.
Right.
I understand it's a television show, so take this with a grain of salt. But I love watching The West Wing. Anybody who's ever watched The West Wing knows that the character John Spencer, who plays the chief of staff, is an alcoholic. And during it, he is having a conversation with an aide who outed him to a senator that he was a recovering alcoholic. And he wanted to meet her because he wanted to explain to her. And he found out that her father was a drinker and that it made her afraid. And he's like, well, she goes, well, why do you not just have one drink? He says, well, I don't want one drink. I want 10. And she goes, is life that bad? No. Why do you do it? Because I'm an alcoholic.
Mm-hmm.
Well, why do you drink? Why do you want it? Because I'm an alcoholic. That's the answer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an alcoholic.
Yeah.
The drinking is the part of that.
Right.
But he's an alcoholic.
Yeah. Yep. Roger, do you have anything you want to weigh in on any of this?
What the heck is borderline, and why is that even on the list?
Borderline personality disorder. It's a very complicated mental health mood disorder. It's more than a mood disorder. People with that are very, very, their relationships are like socks. They're very, very, they come and go. They're like Bic lighters. They have a hard time maintaining relationships just because of the instability within them. And it's a very, it's a terrible thing. And it's very, 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 it can be volatile. It can be hostile. It can be reckless. It can be sad one minute. They can be aggressive the next. There's a lot of mental and emotional manipulation that goes into this. It's often rooted in severe trauma, usually at a very young age. It's very, very, it's like a tornado. Someone with if you've ever met someone or know someone with borderline, they're like a tornado, and being around them, it's just, it's its own thing. It can be a lot. And
if I can, I'd like to tie in OCD with that. My son works at a clinic here in town, and he works with nonverbal autistic people. And his days are as roll the dice random as you could possibly imagine. No 2 days will ever be the same. No events will ever be the same. But I say that as they are trying with these wonderful people to create an environment of consistency, pattern behavior, repetition, to keep them on track as much as possible. And let's just make this very, very clear. You say, well, they're OCD, they're this, they're this. They don't have the coping mechanisms for change like someone else might. So if we're in a car and we come down a road and we think this is the way we're going to go, but there's an accident and we have to take a different route, we may kind of swear a bit, but we can figure it out.
Right.
If you change anything from how they got up, what they're wearing, how you talk to them, how you touch them, everything, you light the fuse and you wait for it to go off. And they don't know how to adjust it. No filters.
You essentially have Rain Man.
You have no filters. And my son has given us a call at the end of this day, and we're like, "How's it going?" He says, "Well, I'm over at urgent care." And he said, "Why?" Well, he said, one of my charges tried to pull a tuft out of my head, tried to pull a hair clump out of my head, and the thing too is you can't judge by age, you can't judge by size.
Right.
He's 28. He's had 13 and 14-year-olds throw him into a bookshelf. Because what did our parents always tell us if we were fighting with our siblings, or you don't know your own strength? Well, they literally don't.
Right.
They don't.
Yeah, they really don't.
We don't know. We can pull our punch. They just let it go because inside them says, what's going on? And you have to work through that.
Right.
But I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to, Helgard has a question here. Does Jake agree with this? So bipolar works in phases/episodes. Borderline can switch multiple times a day.
I think that's a very good way to put that. Yeah, and not just multiple times a day, but borderline can switch multiple times within minutes.
Mhm.
Minutes. It can be very, very rapid within minutes. They can be happy 1 minute and then the most hostile, aggressive, accusatory person the next, and then they're crying over what they just did. And this is all within the scope of 10, 15 minutes. And then you walk out of that, you leave work and you're just like, that was a day.
Mhm.
Yeah, and you wonder why you have absolutely no energy to get through, by the end of the day.
But here's the irony, Jake, you were talking about it. He has utilized, and they recognize he does call every once in a while and says, I need a day.
Mm-hmm.
And they get it because they know what every day can be.
Mm-hmm.
So they get it and respect it. And that makes him feel that they're listening
Mm-hmm.
to him. And so he knows that he can go in the next day, and it takes a certain amount of something
Oh God.
that says everything went to hell in a handbasket yesterday, but they need me tomorrow.
Yep.
And they're going to come back tomorrow and they're going to need me because somebody has to be there to help them.
All right, let's see what this is. Welcome, by the way, Cerebus, the Fluffy. I'm not familiar with your screen name, so this is welcome to this one. You could feel simultaneous opposing feelings of joy and despair with different elements of your situation, and that feeling of not knowing which way to turn in and of itself is so overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Wow, that's a great comment.
Again, a tornado.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
And a lot of these coping skills or lack of coping skills were developed when we were younger.
Mm-hmm.
And what examples we saw, what examples we didn't see. It's great to have you here.
Yeah, it's great to have you here, man.
Wonderful to have you here, Sir Bruce.
And a lot of times those are difficult to change. Those are the indoctrinations and the socializations that happen to us at the very earliest level, and they imprint the deepest.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. Going back to the calling in thing and stuff, okay, and Pete will probably relate to me with this, and so you probably will too. I'm of that generation, I think you guys are too, where we were raised, we don't call in unless we're like absolutely dying. We don't call in to work. And then the couple generations after me, they'll call in. They'll be like, my body hurts. My back is killing me. I need to call in today. And, you get some of these people, they'll be like, oh my God, they need to just suck it up, blah, blah. And I'm like, they're like, what's wrong with the, and I'll be like, maybe it's not what's wrong with the kids today. Maybe it was what was wrong with us that we didn't take care of. Maybe our backs and our knees are jacked up because we didn't do this sort of stuff. And they have the forethought to be like, no, we're going to do better by ourselves. We can find jobs, especially in healthcare, every day of the week, all day long. They're as easy as finding a pair of socks, at Walmart. But my body is my body. I only have,
The example of my father, the earth would have to be opening up with chasms of volcanic ash for him to miss work.
Yeah.
That's the complete opposite of me.
He'll drive blizzards. He'll whatever. I remember clear as day, and it was my freshman year in high school. We had a jazz band concert that night, and they wouldn't let me go. It's the only music gig I've ever missed in my whole life. I had 103.5 fever and I was a disaster. I was furious with them. I'm like, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. I'll sweat it out. I'll be okay. I can't miss this obligation, obligation, you know? And that's part of the musician's mentality. If you reach a certain professional level, you miss or show up, you lose your gig and you don't get called again. It's part of the deal. So you don't ever want to miss anything. And it bugged me for weeks.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, you were sick.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. Yeah. But well, and then there's us as with, you know, at our age who still have maybe some of us still have our parents. And we try to talk to them about some of our different issues, you know, and our parents are of the older generation now, getting close to 90 years old in some cases.
Right.
And you think of they don't understand you because they're like, well, we just didn't think about these things. You just go, you do, you know, that's what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be doing all of this. And yeah, it just doesn't seem to, you know, maybe if I was my age back when you were my age back then, you know, what did we always see our parents doing if they were trying to cope with, you know, with their hard days, you know, how did Peter, I think you might have an example from that. What was your like father or mother like in something like that, you know, looking back at the day when they would finish their work days, like how were they? Did you have
that idea of me being the fixer? Dad's sole objective was to provide. That was his, you know, he came from that generation. His parents were through the Depression. Everything is like, you know, you work.
That's right, Algar. That's where I was getting at.
Go back and watch any of those sitcoms.
Yeah.
Watch Bewitched. How many drinks do they have per episode?
Yeah.
Here, let's pour you a drink. Let's pour you a drink. Let's pour you a drink while we smoke our cigarettes. Let's pour you a drink. My parents had those parties all the time. There was more alcohol in the house than there was in the liquor store down the street. But Dad didn't talk about work. He came home and he was focused on what needed to be done at the house. Weekends, you never saw him because he was doing his honeydew list that had accumulated all week because he felt bad because he would commute from Chicago to Cleveland for 3.5 years, Monday through Friday, playing Monday morning, playing Friday night. He'd come home, he'd work at the house, cut the lawn, do the things, run the errands, blah, 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 playing Monday morning.
Right.
Now, I will say this. While they were a very strong, diligent worker generation, and I don't want to overgeneralize here because I hate doing that. But I know in my dad's case, his parents were the same way. They were not very big on emotional support. They lacked every possible human compassion skill to make you feel safe, to make you feel that they were proud of you, to acknowledge you, to nurture you. They were just like, get up. It's okay. Get up. And that beautiful classic line from that 70s hit, big boys don't cry.
Yeah.
Big boys don't cry.
Yep.
You don't show your emotions. That's weak.
Yeah.
It's weak.
Yeah. I can remember a time when my grandmother passed away and my dad came into my room to wake me up to tell me the news that she'd passed away the night before. And, you know, and I got emotional because she was the only grandparent I knew. And he said, well, you know, you might want to, you know, we need to get yourself together because the funeral director's coming over in a little bit. So you need to get yourself together. And, you know, I was like, oh, okay, all right, and that's how I started. That's how I started to cope with that. I had to pull myself together. I had to pull my bootstraps up real quick and not take the time to mourn, not take the time to process.
But you know what happens?
Mm-hmm.
You get used to shutting yourself off.
Mm-hmm.
And I am a absolute prime testimony of that.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't remotely tell you the last time I cried.
Yeah. No.
I mean, it's been forever ago, and I've lost both my parents.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't dropped a tear.
Yeah.
No,
I'm different there.
Let me just say this.
Yeah, me too. I cried when Ozzy died, and my wife made fun of me.
But let me just put it this way. You get to a point where you tell yourself, if I let this out, I won't be able to stop it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If I open this box, which I should have been opening all along, I don't know if I can stop it.
Yeah.
And there's the fear.
There's the fear. I think in my case, where I just kept getting loss after loss after loss after loss, and every time I would hear about it, it would always be at work, and I could never step away because work just kept coming, life just kept happening, and before you know it, it's almost out of sight, out of mind. You don't even get to even process or think it straight, and after a while, that just, you can't keep doing that. You realizing you're missing out on a lot of people, and you can't process the fact that they're not here anymore. I have an aunt and uncle that passed away some years ago, and this world still feels like a weird place without them, because I thought they would be like Keith Richards. I thought they would outlive all of us, and they were almost 100 years old when they passed away. So I'm thinking, my God, they're probably gonna all like pee on our graves when we're all dead, because they'll still be kicking. No, they eventually passed. But I just feel like I've lived so much of my life where I just hear another person pass away, and I just can't take the moment to process. When I was going through my work stuff, the Sammy thing happens. Then this guy who's the store manager, he comes down with a brain tumor, and he's out. And then it's just, the piece just kept falling, and everything just kept happening. I can't deal with listening to what's going on with my store manager's health, from his family. I'm getting texts from my brother and sister they're going back and forth about Sammy. I got people coming in with all kinds of stuff at work. And all the while I hear the doorbell keep going ding, 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 which turns into a PTSD trigger for me after a while.
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah.
And it's like one person after another. I had people tell me, take a deep breath. I wanted to smack them, because it's like, no, you're not in my head. You don't see what I'm seeing. You don't feel what I'm feeling.
Right.
And this stuff is still going to be here, whether I take that deep breath or not, or whether I go in the back and I take a nap for 30 minutes, it's still going to be here.
Right. There's
nothing I can do about that. Unless I can get unless you're going to help me or something. But those were the kind of things that I had certainly been dealing with.
I'm sorry.
But I want to kind of go on something we talked about earlier about how us men like to fix things. So I walk away from my job because, for the wrestling fans here, I was getting like Randy Orton. I hear voices in my head. They keep talking to me. They, and all that kind of thing. And I wasn't liking what some of those things were telling me. I finally had to tell the owner of the store, I got to walk away. I need to leave here because I'm about to lose my mind. Well, I knew there were things I needed to take care of here at the house or here at the condo. And that started getting to a point where everything was always out of my control. It was never anything I could take care of and I could fix properly. There was other little things, I could fix, But there were some other things that I'm like, I can't fix this. I felt defeated. I felt so defeated. And as a man who wants to fix, us men who wants to fix everything, when you get to that point where you get so defeated in your life, where you just can't do nothing about anything because it's out of your control, well, that doesn't really do much for the mental health and the psyche and the emotional health and stuff like that. But then the counselor that I was seeing, I talked to him about these voices in my head. And he was like, well, what were they saying? And he was like, and I would tell him, I was like, don't discount the voices in your head. Sometimes they ask good questions.
Yeah.
And I never thought of it like that. So when the voices would try to come back, well, then I try to, do whatever. But it just took a long time. It took a long time to get out of that mind space. But
all of us, in some form or another, have that protectionary, you can call it a conscience, you can call it whatever you want, that is kind of there to protect us from ourselves.
Yeah.
And what it can do is make us aware of something that maybe we're not acknowledging or don't want to acknowledge, but it doesn't care because it's just going to do it because that's what it's supposed to do. What was this? I'm sorry.
I think you have to accept the fact that you never completely heal from a mental health issue. You just get better to deal. You just get better to deal with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And real quick, we were talking about things being young, and I'm going to tie these two together real fast because we were talking about me being closed down emotionally. Well, there's always, like I said, there's a flag, there's a moment, there's a trigger, there's something that happened, an incident. I was bullied a ton in early grade school. I was chased home, beat up all the time. And they did it. And when you understand a bully's mentality, they do it to get the reaction. It's the control over you. Yeah. So in order for me to stop them bullying me, I had to learn to stop crying and stop reacting when they did it. Well, guess what? I got so damn good at shutting it down, I'm still doing it. Okay?
Yeah.
Even though I want to open it up, I told myself then, shut it down and no one will bully you.
Right.
And so now I have it disassociated in an unhealthy way where I have to realize I'm safe. Nobody's bullying me. Nobody's coming after me. Nobody's going to do anything. But it's that sense of vulnerability that causes me to still keep those damn doors shut.
Yeah. Yeah. I know the feeling about the bullying. Yeah. And I've always wondered what it was about me that kids wanted to bully me for.
Wasn't you. Because as soon as they were done with you, they went to somebody else.
Roger, go ahead.
It's weird. Why am I looking around the damn room? Actually, I'm looking around here because I've lived here for 2 years. And I've never really been up here. Anyway, it's funny. Where I live, everyone was bullied. Literally, everyone was bullied.
Yeah.
And it kind of, as bad as this sound, it toughened you up. And then out of school, we're all freaking friends. All of us. I've had this same group of friends for like 20 years. Right. Some of them have known for 30.
Right.
But I know the bullying crap. Well,
yeah.
I actually, a bunch of people were throwing snowballs at me, and then I WWE'd someone on my mom's car. Oh. And then that ended the bullying forever from that group of idiots.
Well, I know that feeling too. Jake, can you speak from the bullying perspective?
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. Oh gosh. Can I ever? I mean, yeah. I was a sick, skinny kid when I was young. I mean, God, and so I was picked on an easy target at school. But then, I talked about this a little bit. That stuff wasn't so bad, but then you come home and you get told, well, Wayne got this right away. Why don't you understand this math homework? You're so fucking stupid. I am so fed up with your bullshit. I give up. Why don't you get this? You are going to be nothing. All you're ever going to be is nothing. I don't care. Go to your room. I don't even want to look at you. I don't. Or like when I was going through puberty and your voice would crack. Go down to your room. Don't ever come up here. Don't talk to me. I don't want to hear you speak. These are the kinds of bullyings that happen at home from my mother.
Okay, I'm going to jump in, Jake. That's not bullying, that's abuse.
Yes, it is. It is. It is. And so the bullying that would happen at school, when I look back, that you're asking me about something that's like this compared to what was at home, which was this.
Which is supposed to be the place you're supposed to go to feel safe.
Yes. And
right.
When you were a small kid, you didn't, that was what you knew. And it wasn't until I was maybe, 11, 12 that I started realizing this isn't how it is at other kids'. It was 6, 7 years ago when someone I was working with, she was talking about how someone threatened to disown her kid's dad's girlfriend, threatened to disown threatened to disown the kid over something. And she's like, you can't just disown kids and blah, blah. I was like, man, I was getting told I was going to get disowned every week, like over something stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I would like to say I only laughed a little bit because my voice is still squeaky.
If my voice is changing, it's because I've been dealing with a sinus infection. So,
and when I play a video
I get
game
really deep sometimes.
and tell someone to shut up, that person replies, "Shut up, kid! Shouldn't you be doing homework?" I'm like, "Oh." Yeah. Anyway, just thought I'd.
So I want to switch gears for a little bit and maybe start winding down just a wee bit. I did mention at the beginning about this being Suicide Prevention Week month. So, September is Suicide Prevention Month, sending love to those who are fighting suicidal thoughts, have lost someone due to suicide, have survived an attempt, love someone who is suicidal, have no support system, are too scared to speak up. Let's talk about this a little bit. Who here first has lost someone to suicide? Okay, so we all have that. Who all do we know survived an attempt? Okay. Do we know anybody right now who is suicidal that we're needing to love on? Maybe don't know that.
No.
Do we know anybody who's, and this may tie into what I just read, fighting the suicidal thoughts? Do we know of anybody who, again, has no support system, too scared to speak up? Cerebus here, 6 for 6. For the longest time, when I would look at my job and I would just look at my life around me, there were so many times in my life that I wished I could have just walked along the side of the road and see a tractor trailer coming at me at 60 miles an hour and just want to step out right in front of it. I had so many times in my life And it's been within even the last few years where that has felt that even for me.
I would
And
just like to say something to that. Like I said multiple times, I have no idea how you did that job for that long. Because when I did it, I felt the same way. Ugh.
Yeah.
Customer service is the worst.
Yeah. But it was, but I didn't do it because it just, something inside me kept saying, no, keep going. There's a light at the end of the tunnel that you should know. You should know there's hope there.
Maybe a conscience.
Yeah. I mean, obviously I was never going to follow through with it.
Don't marginalize that.
No, absolutely.
Because I also know that you have an underlying faith that's inside you.
Mm-hmm.
And that is never to be dismissed.
Right.
It is not for me to agree or disagree with it or anything else, but it exists.
Yeah.
And I know that it exists because
Mm-hmm.
we talk and I hear you and I listen to you.
Yep.
And because that exists, that is, and I'll use a poker metaphor, an ace in your pocket.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It is like Underdog's little super energy pill. Okay.
Yep.
You get down to that base level where things start getting rough. And when people start losing the coping skills and the coping mechanisms, yours hits something.
Yeah.
There's that.
Barrier.
There's
that safeguard.
It just, you can't. You got the knife to your throat and it won't go anywhere. It's you can't do anything.
Don't misunderstand me that people of faith can't commit suicide. They can. But it is, I would guess in my completely uneducated brain that would be a moment where they have lost their faith. They have abandoned their faith. They have discarded it. And then the safety was off. So you have that. And because faith isn't a tangible thing, it is an acceptance somewhere at some level of, in some degree, that you have, that there's more than just you. And look at every 12-step program. I don't care what it is. Faith in it.
It is.
Okay?
Yep. Usually is.
Acknowledge that there is a power higher than you. You acknowledge whatever you want to call it. Faith, karma. No, I don't care. So you have that little shield that's doing this, that allows your conscience to go, okay, look, even in faith, without making this very religious, temptation is part of it. Temptation is an essential element of faith. And temptation is dark and it's evil and it is dangerous. All of us are tempted every single day at different degrees, at different levels, for different reasons. And we have to make choices.
Yeah.
So I didn't want you to just kind of go, well, I never was going to do it. Well, there's a reason.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right.
I didn't want you to discard that.
Right. Jake, do you have any thoughts about about any of those 6 different things, or things that you've experienced in your own life?
I mean, I feel like I'm on the same boat as you, though. I mean, and call it the Catholic raising that Peter was talking about, and it's whenever those thoughts cross, I call it suicide by proxy. Going out into traffic, driving my car as fast as I can, and hoping I hit a patch of ice that flips my car. Something where
you'll wind up like a Final Destination victim or something.
Yeah, and your hands are kind of out of it,
and
it's kind of by proxy, and I feel like that's because I can't just the other ways, just like Peter was talking. There's that safeguard that you can't override, and Peter hit the nail on the head with that one.
Let me suggest something and see if you gentlemen agree with me. The notion of getting to the point of thinking about doing that, and I'm speculating, there may be some element that, well, at least I can control that. Because I'm here in this state because I don't feel in control of anything. At least if I get in the car and do it, if I jump, I'm in control.
Yeah.
And that's what you're looking for, to regain control of your own destiny, of your own existence, of your own. I mean, it's a bad way to think about it. Right? But you get to the point where you're so desperate to have control that even the act of control, which is detrimental or deadly, that part doesn't register. It just registers, at least I can do this.
Yeah.
Because listen, all the people that we have ever talked to or know that have tried and were thankfully unsuccessful, what's the first thing they say? God, I couldn't even do that. Right? I couldn't even do that. And you're not supposed to be able to do that. That's the point. We don't want you to be able to do that.
Right.
And when you were talking about the 6th, the one that instantly hits me has survived an attempt. We moved up here to Fargo in 2013. And it wasn't until much later that I was informed that one of my 4 had tried. I didn't know. I didn't know anything about it. I was absolutely clueless. The other kids knew.
Right.
And they're like, oh yeah, we all knew. And when I found out, the levels of failure as a father that crush upon your soul are unbearable.
Yeah.
I was home with them. I was around them. I was enforcing their homework. I was this, I was that, but you can't be with your kids 24/7.
No.
And I was just like, okay. I'm glad that it obviously was unsuccessful.
Yeah. Roger, I believe, didn't you lose someone that you knew recently to someone taking their life, or am I imagining that? No, you had people that natural causes, I think it was. But
the person.
I lost so
I'm sorry.
many, I can't remember.
oh, well, it's okay.
Well,
Um,
Hellguard, it's always right under your nose.
Yeah.
But
It's always under your nose.
No, I don't. I'm trying to remember.
Roger's still trying to think. It might have been my imagination. So you're
No,
okay.
years ago, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Not
if I can
lately.
jump in real fast, the friend I did lose was a fellow musician,
Mm-hmm.
unbelievable player, and his great skill was that he could replicate Jimmy Page, and you'd close your eyes and you'd just swear to God it was Jimmy.
Wow.
And so he played with my friends in a very high profile Led Zeppelin tribute band in Chicago. Well, he was in the studio doing some recording, and a feedback loop went through his headphones and shot a high frequency pitch blast into his ears.
Oh, wow.
Well, the damage was instantaneous and permanent. A phone ringing was like needles stuck right through his brain. You know, if you talked any louder than a whisper, you'd have him on the floor.
Yeah.
Then he was in a motorcycle accident and broke both arms, and he got back to playing again. But what was good was learning to play when even just plugging in anything was pure torture.
Right.
Not unlike maybe what Keith Emerson was experiencing when he lost his dexterity in his hands. He's like, I'm a musician. I play keyboards. This is what I do. There's nothing left for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
it's like
they found it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think this is a good point to say, let's wind this dog down a little bit. We spent a lot of time talking about mental health and different things. And we shared a little bit of our own personal stories, maybe a little bits and pieces of it. We talk a lot about different ideas and the different stigmas and the different versions of mental health. And then we touched here on the Suicide Prevention Month. You know, again, as I stated in the beginning of this, none of us here are counselors, therapists. Jake may work in medical field, but you know, I don't think he has a PhD in counseling and therapy, and none of us have that. So please don't take what we say as you know, like a gospel thing or treatments or anything like that.
Right.
Please seek out someone who can help you. You know, seek a counselor, seek a therapist. Get that friend that might know somebody that can get you. Roger, go ahead real quick.
Well, I was going through some crazy crap, and you know about that, but I can't mention it because the law will say. Anyway,
the law would have to kill us.
Anyway, what was I going to say? Sometimes it gets too much. You need to just talk to someone. It's not some kind of stupid weakness like it used to be what you said. And that's the most ridiculous crap I've ever heard in my life, and that was probably made on purpose for the government.
Right.
Never mind. We're not going to start.
Jake, do you have any final thoughts? And I'll do some other final thoughts too, but to wrap this up.
Yeah, if you're just struggling, and I know this it's hard to do this, reach out to someone. Say, hey man, I'm kind of having a rough day. Even if you don't want to talk about it, be like, would you like to come over, have a cigar? Would you like to talk music? Would you like to whatever? You know, sometimes that in and of itself can be enough. Try not to go it alone.
Yeah. Professor, any final quick thoughts to throw out there?
We are communal species. I'm sorry, what do you have down here?
Let's see, 1:30 in the UK at the moment. They're bugger all in terms of support, and here, barring having myself sectioned at this time. But I want to thank you guys for being as open as it's healed me ease back a bit tonight.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, I always message people. You'd be surprised at the number of people I message at 2, 3, 4 in the morning.
I've seen some of those too, so I know.
I do the same thing. I have to message someone sometimes when I have a panic attack.
Well, Cerebus, we want to thank you real quick
Yes.
for doing that. I saw you subscribe to my channel. I got a notification for that, so thank you. Jake's got a channel too, so Jake's Music State. Go check him out too. But go ahead, Roger. I'll let you finish.
Well, can I finish?
Peter, finish. Yeah.
We are communal societal species. We're not supposed to be alone.
Right.
We are supposed to work as a society, as a group, as a collective. You know, they say it takes a village. Well, that village is broken.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
That village is broken.
Yeah.
We are, and I say we collective all are too self-absorbed, too self-pitied, our day is more important than yours. Our problem is bigger than yours. You've got it great. I've got it shitty. Well, sorry, pal. Your radar's broken.
Right.
And we need to do a better job of connecting with the people in our spheres that we connect with. Take the time.
Yeah.
It benefits them. And like I said at the beginning, oddly, it benefits us too.
That's right. So basically all I'm going to finish with is just, reach out. Reach out to talk to somebody that can point you in the right direction to get the help you need. Be the shoulder that somebody needs to cry on. Be the ear that's willing to listen. And don't be, be quick to listen but slow to speak. That's a big thing. Everybody wants to speak too quickly, and sometimes you just need to just listen. And there's hotlines out there if you're feeling suicidal, there's text hotlines that you can do. Just reach out and talk to somebody. And and I think another thing too that I've heard people struggle with is they get put on certain drugs for depression and different things like that. And sometimes it's almost like a crapshoot, and it's really not helping them. It's actually making it worse, and sometimes it's just, you can't, I know the drugs can help, but you need to get the right ones. You don't let somebody just take roll the dice and say, okay, let's try this to help you. And it messes you up even further. I've known a few people that's happened to, and they're not with us anymore. So, but yeah, I know this is a totally different subject from Music Channel to talk about. Mike Ladano did these on his Grab a Stack of Rock, where we just got together and we talked a lot about stuff like this. And I wanted to bring my own cast of characters into this. And so Jake, Roger, Professor, you guys, Halgard and Cerebus out in the chat, Kevin Turchin. I'm trying to think of anybody else who was commenting here. I think that's pretty much it. I feel like I should get you guys on the show here sometime too.
Someone can take my spot
if you need it, don't be afraid to be the voice that yells out. Sometimes it's surprising who is listening. Amen to that. So for my cast of characters, the awareness is the big thing. We want to, we can't be silent about this kind of stuff anymore. So for Jake, not from State Farm, for Metal Roger, For the professor, Johnny Metal here. Let me just ride us out with my intro, and we'll see you all next week for Monday Night Metal.